Good evening, Northbound I-15 in Nevada. Okay, the weather is getting a little bit rough. This tiny ship is kind of getting tossed. And 97 degrees right now. We have a light load, which usually we don't. As a harbor freight load, usually they're like a light load would be 25,000 pounds, 21,000. Heavy would be 39. And we got like, I don't know, like 15? Is that what I saw? Let me take a look, see. Yeah. I'm getting blown around a bit. 15,306, which would put us at 40,000 total weight. Haven't got the chip in the window fixed yet, but we'll get it. If DOT doesn't force it upon us first, which they could very easily do. We're on our way to Cheyenne. So this morning, loaded up in Grand Junction and then headed out to Vegas where I swapped trailers, and I did that. We were getting blown around a little bit right here. Look at that guy. Nice lightning show. And I even pulled over for about an hour. Well, hour and a half total time after I left Junction. One was to get something to eat and take a break, and the other was to, I started dozing off. And I don't play that game. If I can start getting hints if I have time on the Obama log. You know, back in the old paper days, you just pulled over and dealt with it. But I actually had enough time on the Obama log to do that. So we did, of course, and then I get to the yard there in Vegas, and the trailer's not there. And I'm like, I had 13 minutes left of my 3-hour window. So you have 11 hours to drive plus a 3-hour window, which gives you time for your break, loading and unloading, stuff like that. So you don't take away from your drive time, because your drive time is where you make the money. You make it on stops as well, but more so when you're rolling. I should have my axles stretched out a bit, but I don't. They're up kind of close. That looks like quite the storm up ahead of us. So I text Dan the man. He said driver's about 10 miles away. I'm like, I hope he is. Which he was, actually probably less than that. He showed up about 5 minutes later. So, because I only had, like I said, 13 minutes. That was a nice strike. So I'd like to reach Cheyenne tomorrow night. I think it was like 830 miles, something like that. So I had 2.5 hours. I'm gonna get in this other lane. We're leaning too much to one side. Take cruise control off. Getting a little bit dangerous. We have about 2 hours left, so we should knock this out tonight and get by tomorrow with get to Cheyenne tomorrow night. Helps to have a light load until you get stuff like this. Temperature's back down to 90. Let's say 20,000 pounds is your threshold that they use in Wyoming. So if they close the highway due to high winds, 20,000 and lighter, the highway's closed to you, the driver of said vehicle. So it worked out pretty good yesterday. I went to Durango. Well, I left Grand Junction and I went to Longmont, delivered a Harbor Freight load after my 70 was up, and then went to Aurora, dropped the empty, picked up a loaded Durango, Colorado Harbor Freight. Win the plumbing supply. And then made it to Buena Vista. Well, I stopped at the yard, got fuel, turned in some paperwork and stuff. Made it to Buena Vista, and then went to Durango, unloaded. Then I went up over the $1 Million Highway, Red Mountain Pass. I wanted to film, but it was so smoky. It just made it depressing. So I'm in this lane for a reason, because the wind's coming at my left. If I get blown over, I'm going to go to the right. So I need to be able to steer into that. Once we get up over around here, get more of a headwind into it, I'll get back over. This isn't too bad now. We got to change direction a bit. Anyway, they, like I said, I went up a Red Mountain Pass from over by Silverton. Was it 550 from Durango to Montrose, Grand Junction, Delta, Olathe. There's these test vehicles. Anyway, like I said, I was going to film, but it was so smoggy from the smoke and fires that I didn't film, even though it would have been a perfect day to film had we had clear air. I got a voicemail in that process of going through the Red Mountain Pass area, and when I got to, it's pretty strong right here, I got to Ridgeway, Ray, I made a call and they said, hey, your Cadillac's done. Like, yeehaw. So they closed at 5:30. I was going to show up at about 5:30. So I had my daughter go pick up I paid with a credit card over the phone, and I had my daughter go get the keys. And then once I got in, look at this guy here. See, at least when I'm in the hammer lane, I'm hammered down. She went and go picked up the caddy, or the keys, when I got into town. Then we went and picked up the car after I got to the house, and then I parked it in the garage, all safe and sound. And here's a picture of it. This is quite the show, huh? Lightning storm. Wish we get a better view of it. So yeah, I got the caddy back, brand new transmission. It's just something went wrong, and it got metal shavings in the pump, which distributed to electronic sensors. And he goes, basically, because we could probably get it all cleaned up, and I'm like, no, just put another transmission in it. So she's running like a top. We're back up on top again. That's where it could get a little nasty. Wish I was as heavy as I was coming out. And that they put on 44 bales of cardboard on me, and it's the first time I've ever seen them pushed, like, usually they're the width of the trailer, they stack them in that way. And this time he had them going along the length of the trailer, and I thought I was overweight. I thought I was going to be overweight, but I scaled out. I was like 77.5, and we managed okay. But I was good and heavy. I wish we were like that now. drive with a certain degree of caution. I could just set it and forget it. Yeah, they told me they would have the car done like a week and a half ago or whatever it was, and I was like, ooh, I got my caddy back, and went and posted something on Facebook, and I didn't get it back. I was kind of bummed. But I do have it back now, so I'm going to actually head out to California for my stepfather's funeral. I think he was 84 or 85. Meet with my stepbrothers and go out there for a few days for a funeral, and then head back. It'll be the first trip that I've had in the V. When I bought the car, I bought it in Ogden, Utah, so I drove it to Denver from Ogden. I was just trying to get it home. This will be a actual trip. I think my daughter Sarah might want to go with me. I'll talk to her and find out. Yeah, if we were heavy like we were coming in, you just set the cruise control and set it and forget it. You can smell the sage with the water and the wind. Like one of those storms that are needed for some of them fires. Well, I don't know, with all that lightning, just spark more fires. So yeah, it worked out pretty good that I was able to, because I had to load up at Waste Management this morning, and I was too late to get loaded in the afternoon, so I had to sit and chill. And in the process, I was able to get my car, so I didn't have to make a special arrangements to do that. It's getting pretty jacked up right now. May have to contemplate pulling over. Let's get to this turnout up here, slide my axles back a bit. Some suicidal tumbleweeds. Like almost a direct crosswind. But it doesn't feel too bad as far as like the gusts. Like a steady. We are south of Mesquite. You see, I thought he had his flashers on. He had his turn signal on. Usually when I try to get these loads, when I get them, I'm hoping for light so we get some speed built up and for the hills and all that good stuff, but they always end up being heavy. Then when you sort of need a heavy one, it ends up being light. Reefer. Those things are heavy when they're empty. He couldn't have a clue what I was doing. Because he was right on my tail the whole time. These roads are arched a little bit, so take advantage of every piece that you can. In other words, if I could have the trailer leaning more into the wind than leaning away from it, I'm going to opt for the leaning into. The desert sage smells good, good, good. Quite the active light show. I think I might pull over here, slide my axles back a bit on my tandems, take a shower. While I do that, it's because of the rain. Maybe, I don't know, it seems to be doing okay the way it is. Yeah, they told me, we go through the transmission and then find out that it's got other issues with it, then you're going to have to pay for the work done prior, as well as if we have to put a new transmission in. And see, like, I bought this car with a branded title, so instead of paying $100,000 for it, I got it for $50,000. But it only had 4,000 miles on it. It's been an excellent car, but it didn't come with any warranties. That dealer was asking $56,000 for it, and I got it for $50,000. So it cost me $6,000 for transmission, $5,900 for brand new transmission with a warranty now, and I had to change the antifreeze. Well, I knew that going into buying this car, that's what was going to happen. But my son Nathan's a mechanic, and I'm a shade tree mechanic. He's ASE certified, but I'm Coors Beer certified. But anyway, yeah, I just told him just go ahead and put the new tranny in. I asked him too first, I go, it does come with a warranty, right? Well, that's a good question, I don't know. I go, well, you know, this car isn't under warranty because it's a branded title. So if I had a vehicle that time aged to where it had no more warranty, and I brought it in and had you put a brand new transmission, you would warranty it? Oh yeah, I think so. And I go, well, you should. I go, if I took it to a transmission dealer and they put a transmission in it, they would warranty the transmission. You know, the difference between used and new, of course, would determine your warranty. He goes, let me find out. He got back to me about an hour later. He goes, yeah, it full warranty, 3 years, 100,000 miles. I'm like, put it in there. I don't want to play around with it. I was having a hard time finding a car that was used. Most of the ones I found had been wrecked, branded titles. So they showed me the pictures of mine. It was the right front fender and the left rear axle. But I don't know why they would total it for that, but apparently they did. Like I said, I put a lot of miles on that car already, and it's been absolutely perfect, other than its transmission. But it's back to being good again, so we're ready to rock and roll. It does feel better. It has a warranty on that. Like we had an issue with the drain tube on the sunroof on the driver's side. It was leaking, but it wasn't clogged. So my son, being he's a mechanic, he was able to pull up the how-to instructions on fixing it, and so the tube was not connected to the drain spout in the gutter. So we dropped the headliner, found that out, put it back together, and it's been good. That's the only problem I've had with that car. I know another another driver said, "You're not going to be able to sell that with a branded title." I'm like, well, I could, be honest with you, but it's not for sale. I've got like 3 boys that want that car in my family. My oldest son, my youngest son for sure. I think the middle son, he'd like to have it, but I think he knows those other 2 are already stepped up to plate, basically. But yeah, that's a car that'll stay in the family. So my daughter was looking for a new car, Marilyn, and she had looked at a few. She's looking at Toyota RAV4, and I told her Toyotas are good cars. And I told her, I go, you know, the south end of town, there's a Kia dealer. I go, why don't you go talk to them and see, or go look, see what they have over there, you know. And she goes, I don't want to go there try to sell me a car. I go, just tell them you're doing research. You're just collecting data, and you want to find out which way to go. Toyota, Hyundai, Kia, Ford, Chevy. Just kind of looking at all the opportunities, what's out there, and they'll leave you alone. She wanted me to go with her, and I couldn't. So anyway, she went down there and they sold her a car. I go, I thought you were just going there to look. She goes, I've test drove a whole bunch of cars, and this one is just like super cool. It's a 21 K5, Kia K5. This it replaces the Optima. .4 liter 4-cylinder in a 4-door sedan. Turbo. And it's got a little bit of Huevos to it. You know, I was just like, That engine just seems kind of small. I mean, I have a supercharger on my car. Mine's a 6.2 liter V8. Hers is a 1.4 inline, or 1.6 inline four-cylinder. And my supercharger is a 1.7 liter. So my supercharger is bigger than her engine. But it's got a lot of tech involved in it. It's got a lot of the features that my Caddy has. Not as much, but quite a bit. It's a blue, like a darker blue color. But she absolutely loves it. But who wouldn't love a new car, right? And that was the problem I was having. Like, I found a dark blue CTSV in Denver, and I was in Texas, and I was coming back to Denver. I go, I got to check that car out. $67,000 for that one. 12,000 miles, one owner. But it was gone by the time I got back to Denver, and I got back to Denver like the next day and a half later. I found one in Vegas that had a branded title. They wanted $58,000 for it. It had the Alcantara steering wheel, suede basically, but it looked like a leopard. I mean, it was shedding, and I don't like the steering wheel of this truck right here is leather. The steering wheel of my Caddy is leather. I don't think suede is a good combination for a steering wheel, in my personal opinion. But like I said, that one was shedding. It looked like a leopard. I was talking to my oldest son Nathan about it, and he goes, well, I go, why would this thing be shedding like a leopard, like a dog, when it's only got 12,000 miles on the car? And he was like, well, maybe they changed the steering wheel. I go, oh, maybe. Why would they put an old one in like that? But that was the problem. I was having a hard time finding one a good used one. I couldn't afford a brand spanking new one at $100,000. And I don't know, even if I could, if I would have done that. I would have waited, maybe, because they depreciate in value. Oh, I didn't even see that guy there. No lights at all, black car. Another reason why I like to hang in this lane. Anyway, because of depreciation value. But I do think these cars in 16, 17, 18, and 19, the CTSV and the ATSV, I think those are going to become classic vehicles, collectible. And I also think that the manual ATSV is going to hold their value. It's like the CTSV wagon. Those cars are $45,000 to $65,000 for a 2014. It's like they've already established to be a collector car. So try to find yourself you can find a 2014 CTSV for probably $20,000-$25,000, but not the wagon. And if you can, buy it. If you could buy a 2014 CTSV wagon for $30,000, it's not beat up and in good shape, I would say buy it. you could resell it, make money on it. We just came into Arizona. Beautiful temperature outside, 72 degrees. The clock on the wall says 9:40. And that was the time zone line at the Arizona-Nevada border. We have an hour and 19 minutes left. That'll put us at about, I'm going to say mile marker 70. So there's a Love's truck stop at 64. I think that's where I can get to. This guy playing with his phone. The wind's dropped down quite a bit. See, when you're light, it helps with the hills a little bit better. Lighter, I should say. Well, I think this video is getting plenty long enough. I don't know if we get any more weather, I will add to it. Any fun weather, but other than that, I think we can call it good. So, thanks again for riding shotgun with Mountain Man Mike. Till the next time, enjoy. Peace. To find my clicker. I have that remote clicker for my camera. So I can just push the button instead of reaching for the other button. See ya!